All right, we've made it all the way down now to Module 9, and in this module I want to talk to you about how to work with your sheet tabs that you see at the bottom when you open a workbook. You can actually add sheets, you can delete those sheets, and you can rename those sheets. Let's go through and talk a little bit about how sheets work, and I will show you how to add, delete, and rename those sheet tabs. We have an exercise here that has multiple sheets with information on them, and I want to take a peek at what this looks like before we get started. This is the Australian division of the company, and if you notice, they've listed each item that they're selling, the figures for quarters 1 through 4 here, and they've just totaled them down in row 9. Now notice that we're on sheet 1 at the bottom. Let's see what's on sheet 2. All I have to do is click on it, and I'll flip to that sheet. This looks like the European division. If you notice, the setup's the exact same, except these numbers are different, which obviously changes our totals. Let's see what's on sheet 3. Looks like the North American division. Sheet 4 looks like the South American division. And sheet 5 looks like a summary. What we're going to end up doing in section 3 is writing a three-dimensional formula here. That would be a formula that goes to the other 4 sheets and gives me a total here on this 5th sheet. But meanwhile, let's go back to sheet 1 for a moment. If I asked you which sheet was Europe, would you remember that it's sheet 2? Probably not, so the best thing to do is go ahead and rename your sheet tab so that you know what's on each sheet. There are a couple ways to do this, but the easiest way is to double click on the words sheet 1 at the bottom. That will select it, and then you can type right over it. I'll just go ahead and put each of the sheet tab names in here. Sheet 2 is Europe. Looks like sheet 3 is North America. Looks like sheet 4 is South America. And sheet 5 is Summary. Now we know that when we click on the Europe sheet, we're going to see the European division of the company. There are some things you can do as far as adding sheets. Let's say you wanted to add a sheet in between North and South America. If I select the South American sheet, I can right-click and I can insert a sheet in front of that sheet. It will ask you when you do this, what is it you're trying to insert, and you want a worksheet. So I'll just click OK, and now you'll see it's using the name sheet 1 since we're not using that name anymore. Now there is a plus sign all the way over here, and if I click on that plus sign, you'll notice I've added another sheet there. So that's another way to put a sheet in front of the sheet that you're currently on. If you want to delete a sheet, you just right-click on that sheet tab, and you can choose Delete from the list. If you delete a sheet, you cannot undo it. Just know that. I'm going to go ahead and delete sheet 1 as well. I'm going to right-click and choose Delete, and now that sheet's gone too. Now I do have the ability to move the sheets around. What if I decided that I'd like North America to be the first sheet? Notice how if I just click on it, I can drag the sheets left or right. You'll see a little down arrow, and when you let go, that's where it's going to be. Let's say I move this back, and I'll move it to the right of South America. Be really careful about moving your sheets on the other side of summary, because when we talk about our three-dimensional formulas, we're going to be saying that we want to add a range of sheets, and if you've moved this on the other side, it won't be in the range. Just be really careful about that. That's a quick way to go ahead and add sheets, delete sheets, and rename and move your sheets around. Why don't we go ahead now and go over into section 2, and I'll show you some additional sheet tab options you have.